guys, Zach from StableDash. We're back at the Bitso Stablecoin Conference in CDMX. It's been a great long day. I'm here with Jaun from HopNow. And Jaun, I think you were just telling me this is your first time recording.
First time recording.
So,
yes.
Man, rip the Band-Aid off. But like I said, we love it.
StableDash Live is sponsored by Agora, built for global institutions moving money at the speed of the internet. You can learn more at agora.finance.
First time recording, definitely you're not somebody that's new to the space. So we spoke with Brent yesterday, your co-founder, co-CEO, but maybe kind of give us the TLDR of what were you doing for HopNow, and then we'll kind of start to dive into some of the nitty gritty of like,
absolutely.
Why are you even at the Stablecoin conference this year?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think we launched HopNow about a year ago. We've been in stealth, growing out the business. We're really excited about the stablecoin adoption that's sort of been happening. And we're sort of at a scale now where we want to sort of get out, let folks know about sort of our product offering and continue to sort of grow out the product suite in our business.
Yeah. Really quick, feel free to look here, like just like we're talking. You don't have to look at the camera like hardly at all.
Okay.
That one will catch you, and this one will just observe us. I just do that for the pictures.
Great.
Okay.
Got it.
And so, what did it feel like being in stealth, or maybe even those few years before, leading? Because correct me if I'm wrong, you were at Anchorage right before this. I imagine you might have seen companies coming out to market that felt similar to HopNow. Yeah, help me understand like some of the conviction and why not just build out a company like that for the next 10, 15 years and call it a career? Like, why at this stage in your life did you feel I want to go out and kind of, I say go out on your own, but your team is stacked. You guys have been working together for a long time. So kind of on your own, but with your family, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I think that's a big piece of it is being able to have conviction about something specific and working with a team that has each other's backs and has similar conviction with regards to kind of the growth that's sort of happening with stablecoins and the expanding use cases of those stablecoins. As you sort of mentioned, in my career, it's kind of expanded from TradFi to kind of fintech. So I started off my career at Goldman for many years, focused on building out the prime brokerage business and sort of deeply getting into the weeds of capital markets and providing portfolio financing solutions for what was at that time sort of a growth area in terms of alternative investments. And sort of operated through that period over a decade, and then pivoted over to working at Stripe, where I was involved in FX and stablecoins as well, kind of earlier days, and being able to build out that product. And Hop is essentially a combination of that sort of career experience. And so we're incredibly excited about the vision for Hop over the long term, which is providing not only sort of stablecoins as a product, but stablecoins as a on-ramp towards financial access and ownership, because we believe that that's going to be sort of a wealth generator for companies of all sizes globally.
Were you introduced to stablecoins professionally, or was this like the weekend side project that you're like, it started bleeding into your professional career?
Yeah, I think, stablecoin product market fit has existed largely in the institutional trading space. And so while we were running the Anchorage digital sort of trading desk, obviously a significant amount of the trading volume was done on stablecoin rails.
Yeah.
And so that's where we saw, hey, look, there's significant product market fit here. In the traditional finance days, when you manage working capital for a prime brokerage business over a weekend, you're subject to the limitations of bank rails. And so with stablecoins, we can sit and have liquidity to be able to facilitate trading activity over the weekends, because a lot of the OTC providers and exchanges are able to take stablecoins as collateral or as a trading pair. And so we really saw that as a financial infrastructure that could be applied to payments companies and real world sort of economic use cases. And so that's the focus for HopNow, is really leveraging stablecoins as upgraded financial infrastructure, along with everything we learned in capital markets and FX, to be able to provide users like remittance companies, like fintech neobanks, like PSPs, infrastructure that allows them to settle global payments faster
Yeah.
Generally speaking, most of our transactions are T+0, and oftentimes less than an hour.
Wow.
And sort of beyond that, also giving them access to institutional wholesale FX liquidity as well.
And so talk to me a little about where, you mentioned that you've kind of been in stealth the past year. You're obviously starting to do some media now, which is always fun. But talk to me about the product roadmap. I know we've mentioned a little bit about virtual accounts, and this is a term I think we've seen a lot in the space, and it's kind of been thrown around like as a nice to have. But why kind of start there as kind of one of these core product offerings?
Yeah, totally. I think when we think about sort of financial infrastructure and financial access, I think that problem has, over the last couple of decades, largely been not a major friction area for companies that are domiciled within a G10 country. They've been given the ability to, leverage card networks and Swift rails and sort of other infrastructure that allowed them to sort of build and operate their businesses seamlessly. We are excited about being able to sort of expand that into the emerging markets. And so we sort of think about the foundational components of financial infrastructure and access as access to, wholesale liquidity, being able to do stablecoin on-off ramps at competitive prices with fast settlement. We think about the ability to be able to collect in dollars as well as other currencies. And we think about sort of being able to provide you with the infrastructure to be able to do third-party payments out to your beneficiaries. And so that's sort of the financial access part of our fast stablecoin infrastructure that we want to provide our users. And then sort of beyond that, after that sort of part of the product roadmap is shipped and we sort of grow that business, we want to embed ownership into that product offering. And so that basically means, hey, these businesses want to be able to manage their corporate treasury. One of the ways to manage their corporate treasury is to take their idle cash and be able to sweep it in a yield-bearing product based on kind of your risk appetite, that the amount of yield that you get across the various products that we offer can go from, really safe kind of money market fund equivalent risk profile and yield to something a little bit, higher yielding, a little bit further out on the risk curve. And then beyond that, we also want to provide our users with the ability to access broad-based equity indices through tokenized products in the US as well as outside the US to be able to allow those users to, again, generate sort of wealth creation.
And so would that definitely be in the more consumer realm that you're thinking? Are these, institutional business-oriented products? I was even just talking to Chuck. I don't know if you've met him before. And we were thinking he asked me the question of, what does my perfect financial app look like? And it kind of stumped me because on one hand, I kind of I'm used to / like the fragmentation. Like I go here for banking and I go here for trading and I go, here for crypto. And then I go here for, I don't know what else I could go do. And that's where I think we're seeing this trend, especially with tokenization, where neobanks are integrating trading apps are integrating stablecoin cards. And I guess from your perspective, how do you think people right now, want to use essentially these products that are built on top of virtual accounts to generate wealth or to manage their finances?
Yeah, I think we're seeing so outside of the institutional trading side, where we definitely saw product market fit over the last couple of years, and a lot of the stablecoin transactional volume growth has been on the back of that.
Yeah.
You layer on top of that sort of the next stage of growth of the additional cohort, and that's really been kind of these emerging markets fintech neobank apps that have allowed users of those apps to be able to have a store of value by being able to convert their local currencies into stablecoins, and then be able to take a card, spend it across 200 different countries. Yeah. That's been backed by the stablecoin, backed by their stablecoin balance. So ability to sort of have a store of value in a currency that's less volatile and be able to spend globally on the back of it. So that's been definitely one area of adoption and increasing use case.
Yeah.
And we'd love to sort of see that. We've talked to many of the folks at the event that sort of power that. I think the part that we are seeing kind of early stages of traction around, but not really seeing it sort of necessarily inflect and take off, is again ownership of risk assets globally. And so I think, for the first time, not only can you sort of have a US dollar stablecoin balance that allows you to avoid FX volatility, but you're able to actually earn a return that's greater than inflation by putting it into, say, broad-based equities as a way to sort of build your wealth. So if you're not spending the funds that you earn, you're able to invest it over the long term and sort of grow those funds.
I kind of want to go back to what we were talking about with virtual accounts. Kind of piggybacking on the trend of, we've seen this term thrown out a lot. What do you think makes a really good virtual accounts product? Like, what, even when you're thinking about, hey, how we're designing this product, how you're going for it, like, what really matters to people that need virtual accounts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big part of it is, risk-based underwriting of the user. So, being able to come up with a fit-for-purpose onboarding that is aware of their business model, what their fund flows are. And so I think, we, having grown up in sort of the capital markets and payment space, the co-founders and myself, we sort of understand sort of how to calibrate around the onboarding process. So that's sort of one side of the friction that kind of exists today that we're looking to solve. And then the second piece is, again, I think the product has to just work.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of providers out there where there is friction with regards to payments getting delayed and things of that nature. And so incredibly important for us to work with the appropriate bank partners and have the right sort of integrations to be able to facilitate a lot of the payment needs that they have to be able to run their businesses in a way that's highly reliable.
Yeah.
And so I think that's sort of going to be our kind of two focus areas for launching our product.
And so would you say these people that are getting virtual accounts, could they go just get a bank account, or is this really right now their only option?
I think they can go, I mean, there's plenty of options available. I think the question is, does the financial partner understand their business? And are they able to build the right types of products and solutions for their business quickly?
Yeah.
And so I think we think of ourselves as very much solution-oriented sort of product offering. And so I think, again, the kind of initial ICP that we'll be focused on are kind of fintech neobanks. And, we're going to be focusing on sort of building out the infrastructure that they need.
What gets you excited about fintech neobanks? I think about this a lot. We've seen just the massive rise of them. We'll have a separate segment that we do on the show covered Neo, which will be a part of this kind of series. We've seen some of them look similar. Some of them look very, very different. If you were to sit down with somebody that is saying, hey, I'm building a fintech neobank, what makes a really good fintech neobank right now?
I think it's understanding their users and what their needs are. So we've seen lots of different angles around this. We've seen ones that sort of are focused on global gig workers.
Yeah.
We've seen ones, and those typically have like a remittance product offering. That's
I started to see it get a little bit even more granular. There's the gig workers, and now it's like if you're a gig worker in the media industry, and if you're a gig worker, and you're working, maybe it's a geo. So it's definitely I'm seeing more and more of this. Like the differentiation sometimes is just who the ICP we deeply care about is.
Correct. So I think you'll see more specialization. I think initially the early versions of these applications were more broad.
Yeah, dollar access.
Exactly. That was the functional product. And now I think you're seeing more and more apps emerge that are solving for like very specific verticals. And those are the ones that we get super excited about because, and I think it all goes to the theme of like a significant number of people in the world are still sort of underbanked.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons. Some of it is driven by, again, the work that they do. So if we think about one of those specific verticals that we've spent some time on is like the seafarer industry, right?
Say that again.
The seafarer industry, if you work on like shipping,
Interesting.
yeah, the shipping industry. And so they have a need for, having a reliable wallet to receive their wages. They have a need to get a card so that they can sort of spend it throughout their travels. They have a need to do remittance to pay their friends and relatives. And so I think that's kind of an interesting area where we've seen an addressable market and new companies starting to emerge to sort of solve those specific pain points. And we're excited about sort of helping to enable a lot of that.
We didn't really talk about this, but I'm just curious what you would say. We've seen Deal recently come out. First they come out and they say, hey, you can do payroll now in stablecoins to your W-2 workers and anybody on their EOR product. And then I think they followed it a week later and they quietly launched a stablecoin in the payment app with a card that you can just go spend. What's your thoughts on, I think I've even seen one of your core focuses is payroll companies starting to become like neobanks? Do you think it's a logical step, or do you think, no, just be a payroll company, pay to wherever? And yeah, what's your thought on kind of that convergence?
I think it's super interesting. And it gives them the ability to sort of monetize the other side, which is, again, a lot of the friction that these payroll companies like a Deal solve for is to help companies that want to have a global workforce be able to sort of employ that global workforce, using them as an employer of record. And they're basically solving for the local complexity. Well, oftentimes the workers that are sort of within those jurisdictions, they also need sort of embedded financial services themselves. And so you're seeing an emergence of startups sort of solve that pain point. But I think the employer of record companies are also really well positioned to solve for those as well, because they naturally have the user.
I know, I'm starting to wonder too. I'm like, are we going to one day see like neobanks, going into the payroll? The term payroll has gotten thrown around a lot amongst like neobanks. Is like, no, you do contractor payments, which is kind of like payroll, but EOR and even PEOs, like that's a whole nother beast that we need to tackle. So maybe that's a conversation for another day. I guess as we wrap up here, just when you kind of like reflect, is this your first time being at this conference, or even more focused on conferences outside of your previous roles?
Correct. Yeah, we've always kind of operated.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I'm not the sales guy. I'm
with
just
limited sales and marketing.
Back to business. I guess what's your experience been like so far at the conference, and how has it been getting out to meet builders face to face?
It's been incredible. Yeah, it's been incredible. We've gotten to meet like incredible builders that are focused on solving very specific customer pain points.
Yeah.
And the energy's been great. I think, we've walked away with tons of really, really great ideas and, customers as well as partnership opportunities. So I think these events are great. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
And introducing us to a lot of these things.
Yeah, no, I mean, big shout out to Bitso. We're grateful that this is the second year they've had us out. It's so fun to get out. And like I said, it's really a concentrated room here. I think Money 2020, some of these other ones are great. But at the end of the day, we kind of like that there's just a little bit of tribalism. Like, hey, we're stablecoins, we're modern money. Every once in a while, let's get the focus and get us all into one room. But we'll let you know which other ones we have on the radar, because I think that's our big focus at Stable Dash. Kind of thinking through the next year is, okay, well, now we have to cross the chasm. What's the other side? I just think through the people even we've watched go by during this interview that are like, what are they talking about? Like maybe this is their first stablecoin conference. So going into that crowd would be good. So, but
Absolutely.
Jaun, congrats again. Going to be an exciting year ahead. Look out in the future. We'll be doing a segment focused with HopNow, more on the focus of FX, probably going into the non-USD stablecoin topics, but to really get into some of the nitty-gritty of the happenings there. So we appreciate you as partners. But we'll be back shortly with some more interviews from the Stablecoin Conference and CDMX powered by Bitso Business. See you soon.